Hi dear students, today we have come with a new video of class 6 and it is, you can say, the last video because we just want to complete the chapter 4 in this video. Okay, so let's start fast. So in the previous class we have discussed about friction, the effect of friction, the cause of friction, everything. Now today we'll learn about the types of friction. Okay, so what is friction? You have already learned that in the previous part of discussion, and here we have to learn about the types. So what is friction? You all know, whenever a body moves or tends to move over a surface, then a force is acting opposite to the direction of motion and it just try to oppose the motion. That force is known as a frictional force or friction. Now, depending on the moving body, we can just take three types of friction. So let's start one by one. So first one, it is known as static friction. Then it is known as sliding friction, and last one, it is known as rolling friction. Okay, so these three types definitely we have to explain one by one, and please listen it properly, otherwise you can't able to understand. So first I am writing the definition of static friction and then I have to explain each and every part of the three different types of friction. Okay, so what is static friction? It is told that the force of friction comes into play between two bodies when one body actually starts moving over the another body is called static friction. So my suggestion is that you have to write the definition, okay, whatever I have written here, because in your book the definition is not given properly. So what is written? The force of friction comes into play between two bodies when one body actually starts moving over the another body is called static friction. This is a line I have written. You see, actually starts moving. Starts moving means till now it is not moving. It is just about to start moving. Clear? It is about to start moving. In that time, which force is acting in opposite direction, that is known as static friction. You might be confused about this line. Yes, whenever I will explain the static friction, I think this doubt will be clear. Now I am writing the definition of sliding friction. Okay, so you can say that the force of friction comes into play between two bodies when one body is in a state of steady motion over the another body is known as sliding friction. The force of friction comes into play between two bodies when one body is in a state of steady motion over the another body is known as sliding friction. See, by reading this true definition, you might be thinking, sir, almost these two things are same. No. Here we are talking that the body actually starts motion. It is just starting the motion. It is not moving. You see, it is written actually starts moving. It is just giving a start. Till now it is not moving in a steady way. And here when a body moves in a steady path, that is known as sliding friction. I'll explain everything, each and everything here. Don't be panic. And last one is very easy thing. The force of friction comes into play between two bodies when one body rolls over the another body is known as rolling friction. Three definitions, three concepts we have to understand one by one. Okay, so first you write the definition each and every, then we'll go one by one and just try to explain this. These are the definitions of three friction, and now I have to explain each of the thing. Okay, now I am erasing this one. If you have not written the definition, just pause the video here, write it, and then see the next part, what we just want to discuss here. So first we have to start from static friction. Let's see what is a static friction. So before talking about the static friction, I am just telling you one simple thing. Just see whether you can able to remember or not. See, we have learned one thing, that if an object is kept over a surface and you are applying a force on it. Okay, assume you are applying a force F on that body. Assume from the opposite side same amount of force is applied on the same object. Then what will happen? Simple thing. This is an object. I am applying a force from this side, assume it is F, and this is also F. If these two are equal, you see, is there any movement of the object? It is static. I am applying force very hard because they are not moving, because two forces are equal. This condition, it is known as balanced force. So which one is known as balanced force? When two equal force are acting on a body in opposite direction. And in this condition, what will happen? Now the body will be at rest. Simple thing that we have learned earlier also. And I just want to remember this thing, because if you are not understanding this one, then you don't understand the concept of static friction. Okay, I think the idea of balanced force is clear. Now I am taking the same thing, same object, same surface. Now I am just applying a force from this direction. Okay, and assume here I am taking the value of force. Assume I am applying a force of 20 Newton. Newton is the SI unit of force, and as we are talking about force, so we are taking the unit Newton. So 20 Newton force is applied on this body. But till we have seen the body is not moving. Then you might be telling that, sir, the body is too heavy and whatever the force you have applied, that is too less. So that's why the body is not moving. But in another way, as we have learned the concept of the balanced force, in that concept, if you think we are applying one force here, but till the body is not moving, so that we can assume that from the opposite side there must be a force is acting which is just trying to prevent the motion of the body. Then you asking, sir, what are you telling? Who will apply the force there? Nobody is there in the opposite side. I am telling, there is a person who is there in opposite side. That person is friction. Whenever you are applying a force to a body, till the body is not moving, then we can say that time from the opposite side there must be a force applying on that body. That's why the body is not moving, and that is a friction. So we can say that is a friction force acting on the body when the body is at rest, and that frictional force we can say that static friction. We are applying force, but the body is at rest, the body is not moving. That opposite force which is just preventing the motion of the body, that force is known as static friction. So you might be saying, sir, now I am giving some more force here. How much? I am just adding more 30 Newton on the body. After adding 30 Newton also, we have seen the body is not moving. So that means here total force is 20 plus 30, that means 50 Newton. So you are applying 50 Newton force to a body, but till the body is not moving. That means the static frictional force is also increased by 30 Newton. Now you might be asking, sir, is it possible automatically the frictional force is increased by itself? Yes, that is a property of static friction, that until you are not giving a certain force which just try to move the body will itself, or the surface will itself increase its static frictional force, and that's why it is known as static friction is self-adjusting force. Why it is known as self-adjusting force? Now you are applying, as you are increasing the force till the body is not moving. That means the body from opposite side there is a force acting on the body, and that should be increased. Here it is 20 Newton, from opposite side then also static friction is 20 Newton. If you add 30 Newton, now the static friction is also increased by itself by 30 Newton. So we can say that static friction is a self-adjusting force which is increased by itself. Now whenever you have given 10 Newton more, then you see the body is about to move. That means if you have given little force, then the body will start moving. After 10 Newton, if you give a little force, the body will move. So now the total force you have given 50 plus 10, that is 60 Newton. And you can say that, so in 60 Newton the body almost it is in a disbalanced condition. If you are applying a little amount of force, then the body will start moving in right hand side. In this direction if you go, in right hand side it will move. Okay, so why till now it is not moving? Because as you have given 10 Newton, so the frictional force is also increased by 10 Newton. Okay, because I have told it is self-adjusted, till now the body is at rest. The body is not moving. Now it is told if you give more than 60 Newton force, then the body will not be at rest. Then the body will start moving in this direction. So this is a limiting value. This 60 Newton, we can say it is a limiting value. Limiting value means it is the maximum force which can be increased by static friction. If you have given more force, then the body will start moving. And that time static friction doesn't play any role. When the body is actually starts move over a surface, till now the body is not start to moving, it is almost ready to start. That time which friction works, that is known as static friction. That is written in the definition also. This limiting value is known as maximum static friction. So in a very easy way, if I have told, when a force applied on a body, but till the body is not moving, that force is being opposed by some equal force from the opposite direction, that force is known as the static frictional force. Okay, and if you increase the applied force, the static friction is also automatically increased, okay, to make the body rest. But after a certain value, whenever we will reach, then the static friction cannot able to prevent the body, and that limiting point is known as maximum static friction or limiting value. After that, if you apply force, then what will happen? Assume you have applied more force on it. Assume it is 70 Newton. So till then we have seen that 60 Newton force is the maximum static friction. That means if you apply 60 Newton force, the body about to start moving, okay, it's just ready to move, but till it will not move. Okay, but if you apply more force, assume 70 Newton, then the body will start moving in right hand side. Achha, when the body will start, that time also a frictional force will act. That's why in definition we have told either the body moves or tends to move. Tends to move means it is just coming about to move, but till now it is not moving. So that type of friction is known as static friction. And when the body is moving, when the body is sliding over a surface, that time which force is acting to in opposite side, that is known as sliding friction. So at the time of sliding friction, the body is moving, but at the time of static friction, the body is not moving. I have shown you an example. Assume I am having a book, okay, it is kept over a surface, okay, wait a little bit, I just want to show you. Book is little heavier for that. Simple thing. This is an object. Okay. We just want to move the object. I am applying a force. See, the body is not moving. I am increasing my force. Then you see the body starts moving. It is about to start moving. That time the friction which is act on a body, that is static friction. And when the body starts moving like this, that time which friction is acting, that is sliding friction. Again I am repeating the same experiment. The body is kept over a surface, I am applying force, but the body is not moving. I am increasing force. See, I am increasing my force from the finger. Then the static friction is applied on the body, that is also increased. That is why it is told self-adjusting. Now the body starts moving. Whenever the body starts moving, then which friction acts? That is known as sliding friction. And when the body stops, till now you are applying force, then which friction is acting? That is known as static friction. So that is the whole story of static friction and sliding friction. That is also told here. Now coming to the next thing, and you can say the last part of the friction, that one is rolling friction. Okay, that is rolling friction. So that is a little bit of clear by the definition, that when a body rolls over a surface, then which friction is acting, that is known as rolling friction. Assume I have taken the object here and now I am just rolling the object. Okay, this object is rolling over a surface. That time which friction works, that is known as rolling friction. When the object slides, then sliding friction. When the object rolling friction. And when the object stops, till now the force is applied, that is static friction. Okay, I think it is clear. Now out of these three, which one is larger? Definitely, whenever we are talking about the static friction is maximum, and sliding friction, it is less than the static friction, and rolling friction, it is least. And that's why whenever we just want to move an object over a surface, we prefer to roll it rather to slide it. I am giving you an example. See, the gas cylinder. Okay, we have seen that the gas cylinder is heavy whenever it is full. So whenever we have just taken the gas cylinder to one place to another place, it is difficult to slide. Just try, if you just try to slide it, it is difficult. Because which friction is acting on it at the time of sliding, that is sliding friction, which is heavier than rolling. Rather, if you roll it, then by applying less amount of force, you can roll it. So rolling friction is least one. That's why it is easier to roll any object over a surface rather than slide. And static friction is the maximum. Now you might be asking, sir, why it is maximum? See, the actual cause you have to learn in the higher classes, but I can say one thing, that static friction, as you are applying force, it just try to prevent the movement of the body. So it is not let the body to move over a surface, it just try to prevent it. So it will plays a vital role, and once it starts moving, then there will be no problem. But until it is not moving, that is maximum. So sliding friction is maximum, static friction is maximum, then sliding friction, and then rolling friction. Now, whenever we are talking of friction, the simple thing comes into our mind that due to friction, many more disadvantages are happened. Because due to the friction, I cannot able to push an object, I cannot able to pull an object properly, I cannot able to roll an object properly. So friction. So what are the disadvantages of friction? Many more disadvantages are there. Number one, the effect of friction we have read earlier. Same things are disadvantage because it is slows down the motion. Friction is such a thing which slows down the motion. If I want to move fast, friction just try to slow it. So it is not good for a motion. So we can say it is a disadvantage. Number two, it produces heat. So if I am talking about an instrument, a mechanical instrument which works, various instruments are there. So due to friction, if it produces heat, so the longevity of the instrument, it will be decreased. The instrument become hot very much. So you cannot able to use for a long time if it hot. Okay, so that is a problem. So many more problem will come if an instrument is become very hot. Number three, it's a very important thing. It causes wear and tear. That effect also you have learned. So it became decayed, wear, teared due to the friction. Okay, so that's why if I am talking about the instruments used in a machine, that become weird. If I'm talking about the simple tire of the bus, of the car, of the bike, if you use it for a long days, you see the thickness of the tire, it will be decreased, it will be smoother, then the leakage will come, that many more problem will come. So due to that friction, this wear and tears are occurred, right? So these are the disadvantages of friction. So whenever some disadvantages come in front of us, then we must solve the disadvantages. How we have to sort out it? So way to reducing friction, that also we have to learn, that how we can able to reduce the friction. Let's see, way to reducing friction. So first point we have to learn, if I want to reduce the friction, then what we have to do? The first thing we can do, by making the surface smooth. Making the surface smooth. If I make the surface smooth, then it is easier to move or slide an object over there. Let's see an example. See, if I'm talking about this pitch board, okay, so here you see the surface is smooth. So if you apply less amount of force, the body can slide over it. You see, it can slide over it. But if I'm talking the back surface, you see this surface is rough. So here I have to apply more force. Okay, if you want to see an example, you see, if I apply force here, it will move this much part. Okay, if I take out of the things here, you apply a force, it will move that much of distance, but here it is not moving because the surface is not smooth. So we have to make the surface smoother, okay, to take a body from one place to another place. Number 2, we have to use lubricants. What is lubricants? See, whenever we have gone by a bike, car, bus, we have to apply mobile inside it, or engine oil. The ad also come na, engine oil. What is it? What is the need of the engine oil in an instrument? So engine oil, that is a very sticky liquid things. Whenever it is gone between the objects, we just want to slide over another, then it just keep a separation between them and make the surface too smoother, too slippery, so that we can able to move over it. Okay, so assume this is one surface, this is another surface, and the layer of the mobile or the liquid make a layer in between them. Okay, so that this object can able to slips over it, and one surface and another surface cannot able to touch together. They will make a layer between them. So as it slips over it, so the friction will be reduced. So generally, whenever we are talking about that collapsible gates, many of you have used in your home, you have seen it. So the collapsible gates, sometimes we have given oil inside it. What is the reason behind that? So that it can able to move very fast. That is the reason we have to use the lubricants. Number 3, by using ball bearing. I don't know whether have you seen the smaller balls inside the cycles. If you gone to the cycle shop, you have seen some very little balls are kept. Okay, so what is the use of that balls? These are known as ball bearings. How it works? See, whenever we are talking about a cycle or a bike, it just tries to rotate over a surface. Okay, so inside it, whatever it is done, you know, at the place of your wheel where it is connected, in that place this type of 2 cylinders are kept. Okay, two cylinders. This one is a large cylinder and this one is smaller cylinder. You have to see your wheel of the cycle where it is connected. You see from where it is rotated at the center. This type of two cylinders are kept, and these two cylinders are connected by some smaller balls. So when the inner cylinders try to rotate, so the balls are also rotating over the outer cylinder. Okay, and when this thing will be happen, you know the rotation will be smoother. If this cylinder is just try to slide over the another cylinder, this is the outer cylinder, this is the inner. We can say that this is outer and this is inner. So if the inner cylinder wants to slide over the outer cylinder, then what will happen? Now in that case, if it just want to slide over it, then the sliding friction we have seen it is more than the rolling friction, then the friction will be more. And here whatever we have done, we have given some balls so that it can able to rotate it. So as the rolling is occurred, friction will be reduced. So that full setup is known as ball bearing. It is there in every instrument which rotates. Okay, and by this way we can reduce the friction. Number 4, by streamlining. What is streamlining? Streamlining is a special kind of shape what we have given to the body so that it can able to reduce the friction. Mainly it is happen when a body moves inside the liquid or inside the gas. Okay, so whenever a body moves inside the gas, that time there is a resistive force is felt. Gas means we are talking about the air. When a body is just trying to move inside the air, there is a resistive force of air, it is coming. Okay, so if I want to reduce the resistive force, what will happen? What you have to do? Now we just want to decrease the face. We just make the face more thinner, more pointer, so that it is easier to move. If I am talking about the shape of the plane, you see the shape at the face, you see it is pointed so that it can able to move faster through the air and the resistive force applied on it that will be lesser. Same thing if you are talking about the ship, if I am talking about the submarine, the face that is made pointer. If I am talking about the shape of the fish also, okay, so in that case also you see, so complete fish, to draw it, it is difficult for me. So the shape you see it is pointed. So the pointed surface, it will be just decrease the resistive force which is given by air or the water, and then it can able to move. I have given a simple example, then you can able to understand. Whenever we are talking about the local trains, the face of the local trains, you see it is just flat. Here there is bulb, okay, or the simple bus we have seen. This is the kind of face of the local train or bus. And just some days before, whenever we are discussing about bullet train, so bullet train, it moves much faster than the local train, and the shape of the bullet train is just like this. Okay, so here you see the face is pointed so that the resistive force given by the air or the liquid, it can be lesser. Okay, and that face whatever we have made, that is known as streamlining. Everything which is moving, we just want to make the shape of the object so that the resistive force will be less, and if the resistive force will be more, then the model will not be able to move very fast. That is known as streamlining. Streamlining is a shape. That shape is given to the body so that the body will face less amount of frictional force. So these are the ways by which we can able to reducing the frictional force. Okay, we are just coming to the very much end portion of the friction. Whenever the word comes to our mind, till the discussion we have seen that friction is not good for us. It just try to slows down us, it causes wear and tear. So it seems to be the thing in front of us, it seems to be like a villain. Okay, but it is not a villain, it is a hero. Why? Because without friction we cannot able to do such things are there which we can able to do very faster. That is known as advantages of friction. Okay, I am just moving little faster because much time I have taken to discuss the previous thing. Advantages of friction means number one, walking or running. If there is not adequate friction over the surface, if you want to walk, if you want to run, then what will happen? You fall in sleep and you will be fall down to the ground. You cannot able to move if there is no friction. Okay, we have seen at the place of moon, whenever some videos we have seen, the person can able to fly just like this way. He can able to fly because there is less amount of gravitational force. But when he just want to run over there, he cannot able to run because there is no friction. Okay, so if there is not a friction, we cannot able to walk or run. We cannot able to rotate something over a surface. Whenever we have seen around ourselves, the cars, the bike, the bus, they can able to rotate over a surface. They can able to move by rolling their wheels. They cannot able to roll if there is not a friction. They can be slipped. They can be, we can say that there may be some accident. I have given you an example. Sometimes you have seen on the road, there is some stone chips are kept given like this way. Okay, so you will feel that we just want to make the road too much smooth. So why the stone chips or the stones are given there? Why they want to make the surface more rough? Because more rough surface, more friction, and more friction means the car, the bike, they can able to rotate their wheel properly, and in that case they can able to move freely. So friction is important. I can able to ride over the surface due to friction. If there is no friction, it will be slip like this way. I cannot able to ride anything over here. As there is friction, then only I can able to ride it. The matchbox, whenever we just want to use the matchbox, due to the friction only, this fire has come. If there is no friction, we cannot able to make fire. Earlier people, they used to collide these two stones and make fire. That is also happened due to the friction. So not all that the friction is very bad for us. Friction is also very important in some cases. So there is something we have to take care of, that in some cases maybe the friction is acting as a disadvantage thing, and in some cases it is really advantageous. You might be thinking one thing, that said, you have just told it, we are talking about friction, it slows down the motion, and just now you have told that we can able to move faster if there is a friction over the surface. See, these two things are not contradictory. Yes, friction slows down the motion when you want to slide an object over it. But if you are not sliding, whenever you have to walk, you just walk properly like this way. Not you just want to slide over a surface. If you want to slide, then the friction reduces your motion. But if you want to walk, then friction is needed. Okay, I am telling you an example. Just try it. Just if you are having a cycle, just move your cycle or ride your cycle over a very smooth road and feel how much force you have applied through the pedal. And now you rotate your cycle over a rough road and then you feel, in which case you have to apply much force. Okay, think that thing. Okay, now we have to say the last thing, though we have discussed many more things today. Today's video is little larger. Hope you have to see it properly, because I just want to complete it by today. Next thing is how we have to increase the friction. Increase the friction. So to increase the friction, number one, make the surface rough. So if I make the surface rough, then definitely the friction will be increased. Okay. Number two, if I make the surface dry, then also the friction will be increased. You see, if you just want to run over a wet road, then there is a chance of falling down, because their friction is less. That's why you got slip, you fall down. If the surface is dry, you never fall. Okay. And number three, by increasing weight. If you increase the weight of the object, then automatically the friction will be increased, and if the weight is decreased, then the friction will be decreased. I have discussed in the previous part that how friction depends on the weight. So by increasing weight, definitely the friction will be increasing, and by decreasing the weight, the friction will be decreased. So these are all about friction. In the last part I have got a little more hurry. Okay, if you are having any doubt, we have to discuss later also. Till then, I have taken much time today. Stay happy, be happy. Okay, and thank you.